I love making videos where I get to introduce you to a brand new tool, and so today is a really fun video. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I'll be introducing you to the brand new Waffle Flower background blenders. These new brushes make it super easy to create an even, smooth, inked background. I've mentioned before, one of my struggles with ink blending and creating backgrounds is that I'm a little too heavy-handed. So one thing I've noticed is that a large brush with a super fine packed amount of bristles is the way to get that even blend. So first, let's take a look at the background blenders. Before I show you the background blenders, I wanted to remind you that I have a 10% off coupon at Waffle Flower for you to use. They've generously offered every customer a 10% off their entire cart. It's a one-time, one per use, one per customer coupon, and it is Rebecca. I'll list all the details in the YouTube description box under the video. Now let's take a look at those background blenders. Here are the new Waffle Flower background blenders. They come in 3 different sets. There are the reds, the greens, and the creams. And there are 4 blenders per set. You can buy them all in a bundle, all 3 sets in a bundle, and you do save a little bit of money that way. So if you're thinking you're gonna have one for each color family, that might be the way to go. That's how I like to have at least one per color family. And for a couple of colors, I like to have 2. So a pink and a red, because if you use a red, it's going to be very hard to get that red off in order to make it a nice light pink again. So they can be cleaned, usually just with rubbing off on a paper towel, or you can gently rinse them. Don't rinse them towards the end of the barrel, rinse them kind of just the bristles under the water. But I tend not to do that. Definitely, I guess, if you use something on it where it gets kind of stiffened up, you might want to rinse them off. But other than that, I'd say just wipe them off on a paper towel and they should be fine for the next go round. These brushes come with bristles that are very tightly packed. You can see they are a large blender brush. They fit perfectly in this new Organize More craft caddy that I got from them. So I thought I would just show you this craft caddy in case you were looking for a place to store them. I like having a set of brushes like this out on my desk or up on a shelf right near my desk. This way I can bring them down and use them anytime I'm doing any kind of background blending. And you can see they're very easy to take out of the cubbies of this craft caddy. I will be doing a dedicated video to this craft caddy in a couple of weeks, but I'm just going to mention it now in case you're looking for some place to store them. You can see the other brushes that I have behind them are the Waffle Flower blender brushes that I had been using previously to do kind of backgrounds. These are so awesome. They create the smoothest background, even for people with heavy hands, even for people who tend to make lines, even with Distress Oxide inks, all of that. So you can see all those bristles are just so soft and so smooth. And so let's see them in action. All right, so I have Distress Oxide Kitsch Flamingo. Waffle Flower recommends that instead of doing what I just did there, you don't swipe them or dab them on the ink pad. What you want to do is blend in a circular motion on the ink pad itself and then do the same on your paper. Now, the great thing about this is that you can actually work from the center out, which creates like what they call a halo effect. Or you can go from the paper side of the paper. I'm using a grip mat from Waffle Flower to hold the paper in place onto the center. Now, the real magic happens when you blend in a second color. So here I have Saltwater Taffy Distress Oxide ink. And even though I've just started working on this second color, you already can't see a line between the two, which is just amazing. It really is. And for those of you who have struggled with ink blending in the past, you know exactly what I'm talking about because it is so hard. You feel like you have to go over these colors like 800 times in order to get that smooth blend, but check that out. Didn't take me long at all, didn't have to go over it a billion times, and I got that super smooth blend. It's so smooth that it's almost shiny, which is different for Distress Oxides, which kind of tend to have that chalky look to them. So this time I'm just doing an entire blue background. I have tumbled glass Distress Oxide, and here I'm holding it the right way with my thumb on top. Waffle Flower recommends that because it gives you the most amount of control over the brush. Now let's use the background blenders with some of the new Waffle Flower stamps, dies, and stencils to create some cards. To start out, I've cut out 2 circles using the Nesting Postage Collage die. Now, if you're familiar with Waffle Flower's Postage, Collage, stamps, stencils, and dies, you know it's a collage of stamps and they're all attached. This new Nesting Postage Collage collection comes with 3 different shapes. You have a rectangle, a circle, and then a tiny little rectangle. So each of the stencil sets come with an image that can be stenciled on either the large rectangle, the circle, or the smaller rectangle. So I'm using 2 different stencil sets here to stencil down 2 different images on that circle. Now you can see how light you can get with those blending brushes. Absolutely beautiful light backgrounds. You don't need to press hard. You don't need to blend for hours. Just a little bit of a blend there, and it's going to create such a soft, perfect look. For any of the slightly larger spaces, I'm going to be using those background blenders. And then of course, I will go down to the shader brushes from Waffle Flower anytime I'm doing small detail areas where I need to get into tight spaces and don't want to get ink all over the stencil. Here are those 2 little circles inked out and stenciled. And now I have the Nesting Postage Collage die to cut out that postage edge for those circles. You see those rings on the right-hand side? Those are the Nesting Postage Collage blocks die. Those cut out frames that you can use either on top or underneath. Here I'm using them underneath to mat those postage stamps. And here is the Nesting Postage Collage stamp set. So you can see it's much larger than the traditional postage collage stamps that are tiny to fit on those little tiny postage stamps that go in the collage. Here I decided to stamp the special delivery and cut it out because I had stamped those wavy lines that you get from the postmark, and I needed to pop this up on top because I kind of ruined the stamped image there. So now I'll just add in my little postage stamps that I created. Well, they're not super little anymore. They're nice big circles. And there's also a Nesting Postage Collage greeting stamp set. Those greetings fit perfectly on that smaller rectangle that I talked about, and just kind of collage them all together on a card. Super cute, super fun, super easy. The next one I'm creating with is the Nesting Postage Collage stencil set called Let It Snow. So here I've cut out the rectangle shape from the Nesting Postage Collage die, and I'm using the Let It Snow stencils to create the snowman, which is the large rectangular stamp that we're creating. And again, I'm using those blending brushes, the background blenders, to create those larger areas. And I have definitely learned, just like Waffle Flower says, hold it around the barrel with your thumb at the top for the most control. And then I'll go in with those little shader brushes for the eyes and mouth and nose. Look at how cute that is. I just can't believe that background. It's just so soft and consistent and beautiful. There are no lines whatsoever. These are amazing brushes, honestly. So here's that little rectangle I said you could actually create a little image on. So for the Let It Snow stencil set, it's a little mountain range. So I created some purple mountains on that light blue background, and they are ice capped. So super, super cute, the different images that you can create. Here This little penguin, I had originally made him brown because I thought he was an owl. And that's because I wasn't paying attention, because on the stencils itself, it says exactly the colors that they recommend. So just listen to the stencil. Don't do like I do and have to reblend thinking it was an owl and now it's a penguin. Okay, so then it's a collage. So just have fun making a little collage. I like tucking things behind each other. And then here are those greetings, the nesting postage collage stamp set. It's called Greetings, and those fit on that little rectangle. So I stamped a whole bunch of them in black, and then I can die cut them out with the small rectangle. Again, there is that nesting postage collage stamp set that's got the larger stamp marks, the larger numbers that are, say, like 30 cents and things like that, the larger postage mark, all of that. So these work great with this new collection. I'm cutting out the little kisses and then matting it on the postage edge background. As you can see, I placed them all on that blue blended background that I created with the background blenders. For this card, I'll use that Party Bear stencil set. And this time I'm using the main image, which is that rectangular image, and it is of this bear holding a birthday gift, and the bear's got a little party hat on top. So again, large open spaces. I'm using those background blenders to really get nice, smooth blends and to really get that color down pretty quickly and easily as well. Then for the details, I'll go in with the shader brushes. Again, everything is held in place with the Waffle Flower grip mat. If you don't have one of those yet, I highly recommend, especially if you do a lot of inking and stenciling. So here I'll pull off that stencil. You can see how this image is coming together now. And I have the really, really tiny little detail shader brushes for eyes and nose and mouth, especially with some black ink. I don't want black ink all over my stencil unless I have to for some reason. And then fill in those details for the party hat and the present. He's so adorable. I just absolutely love this. So then that postage collage die actually cuts out the postage edge as well as just a straight rectangle. And then the postage nesting postage collage blocks die cuts out that background that you can use as a mat, just like that. You place it behind the postage edge, or you can place it on top and create a frame. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. Instead of the last two cards we created, those postage stamps, for this card, I'm actually going to create what looks like a picture in a frame. I'll add a little bit of liquid adhesive around the postage edge and then place that die cut frame right on top and slide it into place so that no little white lines are showing. Then I grabbed the tag topper die, which you can get at waffleflower.com, or you can get it at waffleflower.com for free with a $60 purchase. So I will link to that in the YouTube description box below the video as well. Once that was all adhered together, I popped that up on my background and then added the little celebrate in a rectangular shape at the bottom, which I cut out with that straight rectangle. And I decided to add a brad to this. So it looks like it's a picture frame with one of those hangers at the top and then a nail that is put through that to hold it in place. Just a really, really cute little image that was so easy to put together. Love these background blenders for that blend in the background, especially. Don't forget, if you haven't used my coupon code yet, Rebecca, use it at Waffle Flower for a 10% off your entire cart. I hope you can see that I really love these new background blenders, and I'll be using them a lot. You'll see them again in many of my videos. But I want to hear what you think, and if you have any questions that I haven't covered, let me know in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. I'll be introducing you to, yes, yeah, that's how it goes. Smooth. Okay. I'm gonna have to wait until this is done. So.